All right, you. I see you there, and I see you judging me for still having my Christmas tree up. Look, first of all, I love Christmas. Absolutely love Christmas. The opinions of others mean nothing to me. Secondly, usually I put my Christmas tree down just a little bit earlier than now. I put it up at November 1st. And I usually take it down in the middle of February when it still feels a little bit Christmassy because usually it's snowing. But this week I've waited until almost the middle of March. So it's time to take it down. But there is also a discussion about Cedar Point that we need to have right now. Cedar Point is not going to be having Top Thrill Dragster this year for people to ride. And I have seen a lot of people in the comments hand-wringing over whether or not they should even come to Cedar Point. So today we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of the different parks that are close-ish by Cedar Point and help you guys try to weigh the positives and negatives in the most unbiased way I possibly can, like I tried to do as much as possible. So today, while we do some cleaning, that's what we're going to talk about. So I hope you're ready. I hope you're excited. Let's go! To be fair, I have to admit, Cedar Point has lost a little bit in the translation as far as being America's roller coast. Cedar Point is no longer really America's roller coast because now it has 3 roller coasters at the front left, 3 more roller coasters in the middle, so that's 6. Then you have 3 more roller coasters at the back, that's 9. Only 4 more roller coasters along the back Gemini Midway, and then you have 1 more coaster up at the front, and that's Gatekeeper, because you no longer have Wicked Twister and you no longer have Top Thrill Dragster running for this year, which means we really only do have 14 rides instead of 16 or 17 rides like we are used to having. Hey guys, it's Editing Trent. We do actually have 16 rides because I didn't think about the 2 kids rides that are in Camp Snoopy. So that does make 16 rides, but still we don't have the 17 or I guess what would have been 18 rides that we had before that were open. But still 16 rides open this next year. That is sad, I have to admit. And it does make me kind of feel sad about it too. It feels like there's been something lost. So I definitely understand the whole concept or idea that there are people who feel like they don't know if they really want to go to Cedar Point this next year, because there are a lot of things that have changed and it's not gonna quite feel like the same experience. That being said, of course, some of the major things about Cedar Point haven't changed at all. Nothing's really changed in the in total for Cedar Point's experience. The Cedar Point experience is still that it is a great theme park that is situated on a beach on a Great Lake in northern Ohio. Part of the charm of Cedar Point and part of the reason why I think it is one of the best theme parks regardless of the situation is because of its setting. Like, I would still even put Cedar Point up against Disney for that. And if you know me or you followed my channel at all over the past years, you know that that's saying a lot. But this video is not just me talking about at length why I like Cedar Point.
Welcome to Cedar Point.
It is me objectively discussing with you guys why Cedar Point is or is not a decent place to go visit for this next 2022 season. So I don't want you just to take my opinion on the matter. I want you to actually have a few facts and a few numbers that might help you to kind of make your decision on which parks you actually want to visit. And because of that, I have looked up a couple of different parks that are closer to Cedar Point. Now, some of these I did include that are more parks that I know. For all I know, there's a good chance there's probably some other theme parks in Michigan or in Ohio that you could also go to, but I'm not as familiar with those. I'm familiar with Indiana, so Holiday World, Indiana Beach are both on my list. And then of course we have parks ranging from Cedar Fair to Six Flags parks that are within somewhat decent driving distance. So I looked up anything that was basically like if you live 2.5 hours away from Cedar Point like I do, then what other parks might be within the range for you to go visit by just traveling another 2.5 hours in maybe the opposite direction. That's what we're talking about today, and we're going to be comparing those parks together. Now, those parks are going to include Six Flags Great America, Six Flags Darien Lake, Michigan Adventure Kings Island, and then, like I said, Indiana Beach, Kentucky Kingdom also, and Canada's Wonderland. I forgot I did not include Holiday World on this because that was 6 hours away rather than being 5.5 or 5 hours and 45 minutes or something like that. So anyway, let's talk about how many rides are in each park and what you may be able to choose, where else you may be able to go instead of Cedar Point, or maybe you want to choose to go to Cedar Point anyway. First of all, I just want to give a quick claim here. I did not count every single ride at every single park because I'm just not going to spend that amount of time doing that for every single park. But I did do a quick search online to see, and I mean, each one I think is pretty close to the number of rides and different attractions that are actually at each park. I didn't include shows, but I did include the thrills and things like that because each of these parks is going to include some sort of entertainment. Of course, each one's a little bit different, and if you want to find out a little bit more about some of these parks, then definitely go check out my Indiana Beach reviews, my Kings Island reviews, stuff like that. But right now, Cedar Point has 70 rides in it, just rides altogether. That includes flat rides, roller coasters, any kind of experience like that. I believe it also includes water parks. And it has 16 roller coasters. Here's the other exciting thing about Cedar Point. Cedar Point used to have 5 roller coasters over 200 feet tall, which is staggering, as an absolutely staggering number. With Top Thrill Dragster being closed, it now has 4 rides that are over 200. But again, still, that is a staggering number. As you'll see as we go down this list, you're gonna see how incredibly rare that is among theme parks just in general. So if we continue down there, Six Flags Great America only has 1 ride over 200 feet tall. Six Flags Darien Lake also only has 1 ride over 200 feet tall. So again, in the area, I mean, that's 2 Six Flags parks that are fairly close by. You only have 1 ride that's 200 feet tall that you can go check out altogether. Definitely, I think that speaks volumes in and of itself. Six Flags Darien Lake also has 45 attractions altogether too. So that again, I mean, it just shows you the 70 attractions that Cedar Point has is really a huge number among theme parks. And also is another reason why you may want to go visit Cedar Point for this next year. Another thing that I want to bring up really fast too is that Top Thrill Dragster being down and not working is not something new.
Man bested again.
Like, it's not something new since I was in high school. It's not something new. Top Thrill Dragster has always been a problematic roller coaster, to use an El Toro term. It's just not one of those rides that is incredibly reliable. It breaks down constantly. There were always problems with it if the wind was just high enough. you couldn't ride it. So not having it be available for a day, I mean, there were whole months last year, even before the accident occurred, when Top Thrill Dragster just was not open, and we kept waiting and waiting and waiting for it to open, and maybe it might open for a very short amount of time, and then sure enough, it was down again, so we weren't able to ride it. I think even my very beginning, like 3-part series where I rode every single ride at Cedar Point, I wasn't able to ride Top Thrill Dragster for several of those days, and I went back 3 different times, 3 separate trips for me to be able to complete that challenge. That's just one of those things where, honestly, if you are a Cedar Point fan one way or another, or a Top Thrill Dragster fan one way or another, you're just not gonna get to ride that ride very often. It's just become a fact of being in the Cedar Point fandom. Beyond that, we have Michigan Adventure, which has 50 rides, 7 roller coasters, and 0 of those is over 200 feet tall. Kings Island, that has 48 rides and 14 roller coasters, and 2 of those is over 200 feet tall. We also have Indiana Beach with 43 rides and 6 roller coasters, 0 of which, once again, are over 200 feet tall. Kentucky Kingdom, which has 51 rides and 6 roller coasters, only 6 roller coasters, although I gotta say they do look really good. And 0 of those, once again, is over 200 feet tall. And then also you have Canada's Wonderland. Canada's Wonderland being very clearly the front runner here because it has 79 rides and 17 roller coasters. 4 of those are over 200 feet tall, so it's on the very much the same level as Cedar Point. And I think if you know much about Cedar Fair parks at all, definitely the front runners of the Cedar Fair parks altogether are either Cedar Point or Canada's Wonderland. Although I gotta say, Kings Island is looking better and better and better all the time. So there are a lot of great parks, and I certainly am not knocking any of them. I'm not saying that you have to visit Cedar Point by any means, and I'm also not saying that you should avoid Cedar Point for this year. If anything, I would say really, I think everything is pretty much a draw when it comes to Cedar Point. And that's only when you consider the amount of rides, let alone the entertainment, the beaches, the paths, the boardwalk, you know, just being able to go play in the waves on Lake Erie. You know, that's an experience unto itself that really sets apart Cedar Point. And I think that in and of itself almost makes it worth it. Now, I obviously don't do the theme parks like everyone else does. A lot of times, I like to do a little bit more relaxing, and not every Cedar Fair fan wants to relax. There are a lot of Cedar Fair people who pretty much all they really want to do is to get those thrills in. As a lot of roller coaster fans put it, they want to get the credits. And they just want to do everything. Every roller coaster, all that kind of stuff. And not just at Cedar Point, but at every other park that they may go to. In that case, you may have a possibility that you don't want to go visit Cedar Point. And once again, I'm not here to make that decision for you. I'm not here to try to convince you one way or another what you should do. I'm just here to try to give you some idea of what is available and what may be close by. I decorate my Christmas tree really, really deep. And these lights just go like as deep into the tree as I possibly can get them. And it is a pain, let me tell you. When it's time for me to get these out, it is a pain in the butt. I'm regretting not taking down my tree earlier now. Yes, I do realize that my Christmas tree has been up for 5 months too. Yay! It's not all done, but all the lights are off of it. That's good. All right, so at Cedar Point, I do also have to admit, there are some of the best roller coasters. Now, I wish I was more familiar with every other park and what they have. I do know there's some pretty cool looking wooden rides at Michigan Adventure. I'd love to go visit those. I do think that Six Flags Great America does look incredible. It has been years since I've been there. I was there like freshman year of college, so I remember very, very little about that. There are also some incredible Kings Island coasters, and especially, once again, wooden coasters. Same thing with the rides at Indiana Beach. I love how Indiana Beach's rides are all like stacked on top of each other. And now this next year, they have 2 new roller coasters, but I think that's really going to make Indiana Beach just a very exciting place to go visit. The only place besides Indiana Beach that I'm much more equipped to tell you about, of course, is Cedar Point. And Cedar Point does have, I mean, I think the best rides you possibly can have. So many rides that are record-breaking to one degree or another. In such a way that you just don't have at every other park. You know, like Steel Vengeance is one of the steepest and tallest of the Rocky Mountain Coasters rides that have been made. It does offer some incredible both views of the park and just some really fun, crazy airtime. Right at the back and you'll never touch the seat. It's just so cool. Same thing with the roller coasters up at the front of the park, from Raptor to Valraven to Gatekeeper. Gatekeeper has some gorgeous views, some incredible inversions, starting with, at the time that it was made, the tallest inversion that had been made at the time. That's also a 172, I think, foot coaster. So that's getting real close to the 200 foot amount also. What I'm trying to say is Cedar Point has some world-class coasters that I just don't think you can get the same experience any other place. Like, make your own decision. Do what you need to do. But I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly going back to Cedar Point this next year. And I gotta say, part of me wanted to open up this video and just say, no, don't come. Because I want the park to myself. But of course, a lot of you are going to come anyway. And as you should. Enjoy Cedar Point. Have as much fun as you possibly can. Take moments to relax. And definitely enjoy some of the features that are unique to Cedar Point. You just won't get to enjoy Wicked Twister or Top Thrill Dragster, and Top Thrill Dragster being the saddest of the two. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed us talking today and me getting down my Christmas tree. Yay! Please leave something down in the comments. Especially tell me, are you planning on going to Cedar Point this next year? Or is this the year when you're just gonna hold it off for a while? Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. And nobody had better mention that Christmas tree at all down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. And let's go!